Modern Man tutorials. Understanding female psychology, basically, right? Understanding that, well, first off, most females are, they have a thing what they do that's called shit testing, basically, but sometimes they tend to do it a lot. Like, it becomes part of their personality. It's like, let me put it this way, it's essentially girl game. Like how guys, got game, you know, they'll say certain things to impress and convince females to like them and stuff like that, right? Females have their own version of it, but it's kind of like in reverse, right? It's like a reverse psychology type thing because they'll say negative things to you and expect you to respond to it, right? To react to it, to the negativity, right? And they want you to come at them with positivity. So if they say, you're not cute, they want you to respond and react and be like, try to convince them that you're cute. Basically tell them that, nah, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm definitely cute. This, that, and third. My last 3 girlfriends, blah, 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 I said I was super cute. I don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Girl, you blind, blah. Like, that's what they want. They want you to convince them, the opposite. Which, of course, some guys be like, oh, that's a little, she's playing games, right? It's like, well, yeah. if a guy, talking to females, right, is called game, right? The guy gotta have game to get chicks, right? Then why would you be surprised if females play games? There's a reason why guys have to have game, so to speak. It's because you can't be upfront with a female and be like, hey, I like you. I would like to be your boyfriend, and then that's it. And then, boom. If she likes you back, then you're a boyfriend, girlfriend, live happily ever after. It doesn't work that way. It'd be nice if it did, but it doesn't. Right? They have a habit of valuing themselves as because they want to be special. So they value themselves as special. So they don't want to be approached, right, like they're average. They don't want to be talked to or treated like they're average, as in, like I said, they highly value themselves, so they want this special treatment. They want to feel special. That's why when a guy ignores a chick, she tends to want his attention even more. It's like, oh shit, he doesn't want to give me attention. He thinks he has something more important to pay attention to than me, right? Her feelings, right? She gets into her feelings, and now she wants his attention even more because she's being denied something that she wants, right? She's being told no, and females don't like being told no. That's should be obvious by now. So that's why females have a habit of doing this thing. So something to point out, you might notice sometimes that a female would like you if you'd be like, hey girl, I like you, this and third, and then she's like, sorry, you're not my type, or I'm not looking to be in a relationship or something like that, right? They'll give you an excuse to to let you down. They have no intention of getting with you, which means, you should get the hint, right? So if she's giving you excuses, then, understand it. Even if you try to convince her, it's going to be very, very hard because she's, by default already, it's just going to be a no, 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 no the whole entire time, right? She might reach her limits and eventually say yes, but you don't want that type of scenario where the only way you get a yes from her was to constantly nag her, right? Constantly go over and over again, asking her and trying to convince her, right? The thing is, they want you to convince them, but they don't want you to, try too hard to convince them. They like the idea of a guy who's smooth, a guy who's capable of a couple words be able to convince them, to take their, to get butt naked in public. That's the kind of level of talking and convincing that most of these females want. And so, and most guys are not that good at that, but you get the idea. It's they want you to convince them that bad. So, but like I said, if they're giving you excuses, And instead of, then it's gonna be a tough battle. But I suggest you don't even try to battle, right? Just accept it, walk away, and let it go, right? Some guys will be, some guys out there will give you the advice that's like, that's a part of shit testing. You should, try, to convince her otherwise. But it's like that's, for most guys that'd be too hard, and there's no point in trying even harder, because then you just end up in a bad situation that you don't want to be in, right? You rather have an easier situation. You want it where, based off of what she said to you, is like, oh, okay, I have a shot, right? You prefer a shot, you prefer a chance. You want whenever that what she says lets you know that, oh, okay, I have a shot, I just gotta prove myself, right? She's giving me a chance. I gotta prove myself. So the way is she's trying to give you a shot, right? Which is always interesting if you pay attention to how females talk sometimes, especially if you've been rejected many times. Like, pay attention to how you were rejected. If you were rejected with an excuse, as in like, all right, I got a man, which if she says she got a man, that's a very big excuse, and you definitely should, walk away, right? But if she gives you something less than that, like, the whole like, oh, I'm not looking for a relationship and this, that, and third, right? It's like, yeah, it's not as harsh as I got a man, because she wants you to know that she is single. She's just not ready to mingle. That's what she's trying to say with the whole, she's not, looking for a relationship. Sometimes some guys take the whole like, oh, you're not looking for a relationship. Okay, so you're not telling me no. You're not saying you got a man or I'm not your type or whatever. You didn't say that. You said, you're not looking for a relationship right now. That's not a no. That's a I could be a one-night stand in certain situations, but again, try not to push it. Let her try to make that happen. In other words, just give her some space and see what happens, because she might, change her mind and be like, you know what, I'm gonna go talk to him, this, that, and third, and then there you go, you could work from there. But the main thing, that I'm trying to get to is, if she says she don't date short guys, and let's say you're short, and she says she don't date short guys, think about that. That's very specific. Very specific. Instead of saying that you're not her type or she's not interested, right? Because the less specific she is, the more vague she is, the more she is hesitant and resistant to saying anything that could hurt your feelings, right? Like saying you're short, you're fat, you're ugly, blah, 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 right? Things like that, you're broke, those types of things, right? You're not the type of race that I like, whatever. If she's not very specific and she's like very generic, where like, I'm not looking to date right now, you're not my type, this, that, and the third, it's like, those are very vague. That's not specific, right? It's because she's not trying to hurt your feelings, which is a nice thing to do, obviously. But the reason, what I'm trying to say is, the fact that she was specific, the fact she says she don't date short guys, right? Not that she don't like short guys, unless she does say, I don't like short guys. Either term, whether she says she don't like short guys or she doesn't date short guys, right? She's expressing a preference, obviously, right? She's trying to imply that she prefers taller guys, but she's not flat out saying no to you, right? She's not flat out saying that, she's not interested in you, period, right? Notice that it was very specific, like short guys. So it kind of, it's still a generalization. It's specific, but it's a generalization, short guys. Not you, shorty, right? That's more of an insult. Like, it's like, oh shit, you're making it very personal because you're specifically pointing out the fact that I'm short and you don't like that. Like, me being short is a problem for you because it's me and I'm short, as opposed to just, you just don't, date short guys. because you have a preference, right? You have standards. So the whole being specific about short, tall. I don't date tall guys. I don't date you know fat guys or broke guys or this that, and the third. Is like when she's stating her preference, that right there is essentially a test, right? That's right there letting you know, well, yeah, I don't date short guys. Typically, if you think about it, right? Typically because she prefers taller guys, but doesn't mean she won't date short guys. She just doesn't date short guys. And the high probability is that every time she points out that she likes tall guys or and whatnot, or whenever, or that maybe tall guys tend to approach her more than short guys. And again, like I said, she has a preference, so she prefers tall guys, but you're one of the few short guys that has approached her, and she just wanted to let you know what her preference is. She prefers, taller guys, or she just doesn't normally date short guys, but that she'll make an exception. I've experienced this many of times where a female, one of my exes, part of why, obviously why we got together was, was pointing something out. Like my last ex, she was talking about like she don't date Puerto Rican guys, and it's like, okay, that's to each their own, but it seemed a little weird considering the fact that her baby daddy, yeah, she's one of those, single mom, was Puerto Rican, which means her son is Puerto Rican, and she's half Japanese, half Puerto Rican, but you get the point. So he's mixed. He's like 1/4 Japanese, her son. But you get the idea. It's like, okay, but your baby daddy's Puerto Rican. So this whole you don't date Puerto Rican guys is false, right? Especially the way she worded it is like, I think you meant after, her, she got pregnant from her son's baby dad. She don't date Puerto Rican guys anymore, or doesn't like to date them anymore. But not that she never, unless we're implying that she never dates Puerto Rican guys, but she has no problem going to bed with them. So it's like, oh, okay, that would explain the whole your Puerto Rican baby daddy. But whatever. It was just the humorness of that idea of like, why would you say that you don't get into relationships with a Puerto Rican guy, but you made a baby with one? So it's like, huh. Now it's possible that, yeah, Puerto Rican guys aren't her preferences per se, but he was an exception, and that's the point I'm trying to get to, is the exception. Clearly, this was one of the two, because clearly I'm Puerto Rican, right? One of the two Puerto Rican guys that just so happened to be an exception. You had no problem making a baby with him, and he's Puerto Rican, and you're dating me, right? So clearly, you're not against at all with doing anything, relationship-wise or sexually, with a Puerto Rican man. But you might have a preference for something else. And if I'm right, well, her preference is guys in general. She's bisexual, which was awesome, so she does like females, but she definitely leans towards guys, from what I know. But I think she leans a little towards the light side, if you know what I mean. But she's had some dark meats in her past. The point is, she definitely, was hypocritical, right? She was like, she says one thing but does the other. It's like, yeah, you get in a relationship with me, then you tell me that you don't date Puerto Rican guys, yet I'm a Puerto Rican guy, and you're dating me. You see how that doesn't sound right? Now think about it. We're already dating, right? We're already in a relationship, right? So it's like, okay, this is a little weird thing to say. You didn't say this before the relationship, and I try to convince you that you should date a Puerto Rican guy, right? So I didn't have to go through that trouble. You just had no problem to jump into a relationship with me. But for most of you guys, you're going to have a situation where she, will bring this up to you before you even get in a relationship. She'll just you meet her, you say hi and this, that, and third, and then she'll immediately start, pointing out her preference, like, what she likes, what she dislikes. Sometimes you'll be in a scenario where you're talking with a female, right? And, just getting to know her, asking questions. And then she'll start telling you, what she likes and dislikes. Sometimes guys have a habit of just asking, like, hey, what's your type? And it's like, yeah, that's not a good idea to ask a female what's her type. Because, like, the point I'm trying to make in this video, right, is that, regardless of what females say or what they think they like or feel they like, they will make exceptions. See, guys have preferences, and their preferences tend to override, a bit of their logic, right? So they have preferences, so they'll stick to those preferences more than a female. A female tends to be more random in what they do and don't do. Part of it is because females don't like to do the same thing over and over again. Yeah, that's what she said, right? They don't like to do the same thing over and over again. They like experiences, which means everything has to be different. Every day, different food, different smell, different, trip, different everything, right? It's the idea that they just want different stuff. They don't want to, they get bored easily, is what I'm trying to say. Guys can do the same thing over and over again for years and years and years and years and not get bored of it. Nah, I mean, sometimes you would. You just find something else you can do for years and years and years. This is why some guys have t-shirts that they've been wearing for many, many years. Right? They've been wearing for many, many years. They won't stop wearing those, that their lucky shirt, right? Because they have, it's when they like something, they like it for a long, long time. So guys are a lot more loyal in that regards. When they like something, they'll keep liking it. So when a guy has a preference, it's pretty much a long life preference. Females, when they say they have a preference, they have standards. That always changes. It always changes. It's usually because it's based off of their feelings. If a tall guy makes them feel a certain type of way, then they like tall guys. But if a short guy makes them feel a certain type of way, then they like short guys. So it's just feeling based. So they flip flop. So that's why it's very important to pay attention to what a female says, and how she says it, because there's a possibility that she's trying to give you a hint, right? She's trying to let you know, it's like, hey, I don't date short guys, but essentially there's a unspoken but. If you can convince me that it's worth my time, that I should have this, I should experience dating a short guy like you, go ahead, shoot your shot and don't miss, right? That's essentially what that's about. That's where that's going. She wants you to, shoot your shot. So, do your best to, make the shot work, right? But that's the main thing I wanted to point out was sometimes I notice that they'll be very specific about what they say they don't like, because I've experienced this many times before, like females telling me that they didn't, why do I have long hair? They don't like long hair. Why can't I be like every other guy with short hair? And then what's ironic is, like, okay, you say I should have short hair like every other guy, but you're here with me, not with these other guys. There's all these other guys that got short hair, but you're here with me instead. And then you're playing with my hair. So you're touching me, you're physical with me, yet you were complaining not too long ago that, you don't think that me having long hair is cute, or, I should have short hair, and, you just don't like long hair on guys, apparently. Like, you're telling me you don't like long hair on guys, but you're here playing with my long hair, and you're here interacting with me instead of interacting with the short hair guys. And there's plenty of them around at that time, right? So it's like, it's kind of strange how the guys with short hair that you have the option to speak to, you don't speak to, but me with the long hair, you're all over me. And it's not just you, it's all the other females that was there at the same time. They all were taking turns talking about my hair or touching my hair, asking me things. It's like, a couple of them pulled my hair and, asked me certain, adult questions. But it's like, you get my drift. It's like, yeah, ladies, it's like, this is not behavior, right? This is not this is not how somebody who doesn't like something behaves. They don't say they don't like long hair, but then be playing with the long hair, right? They won't be talking about, they don't like you. Like one of the chicks even said that, like she don't like me, like, I'm annoying or something. I forgot the exact words, but it's something along those lines where it's like, okay, like, I get it, you don't like me, but for some reason you just can't stop being around me, right? And if I'm right, she took a couple steps away, crossed her arms, trying to act like, I must have said something, and then she's trying to act all mad at me about it. It's like, okay, whatever, I don't care. I think it was something because I was busy doing something, so I think it was just that they're like, I'm busy, you're bothering me, blah blah blah. So she just got pouty about it, but of course, because she distanced herself from me, that opened up space for other females to come through and start talking to me and sitting around me. And of course, she didn't like that. So then she came back and it's like, okay, so we're back to square one where y'all talking and y'all touching me, and it's like, yeah, this don't make sense. This is the opposite of what y'all said, or the opposite of the idea of like, not liking me. Right? This tells me the opposite. This clearly tells me the opposite. Clearly, there's some liking going on here. So, and I've had many other experiences, like other situations where, female, told me that, I'm not her type. I was like, okay, and then months later, this was like in school, like in high school and stuff like that. And then months later, like, oh, I always had a crush on you. It's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Not too long ago, you told me that I wasn't your type. And then now you're telling me you had a crush on me the whole time. Like that doesn't, that don't make sense. Like, right? And then it's always like the whole like, oh, they were shy, or, I'm out of their league or something. It's like, okay, so you think I'm something I'm not, right? You think I'm out of your league. See, the thing is, I've always saw myself, as a nerd, as an average guy or something like that, not some, jock or, hot boy or whatever, heartthrob or something like that, for females to act like they couldn't talk to me, they couldn't be in a relationship with me. But how I perceive myself is irrelevant. It's how they perceive me. So if females perceive me as a hot guy, as out of their league, okay, then that's what I am, right? I mean, I can't change them, right? I can't convince them that, I'm not a hot guy, I'm not a hot boy, right? So, they shouldn't feel intimidated in talking to me. They could talk to me. They wanna be my girlfriend. That's an option, but they always feel like I'm, out of the league. That I'm too good for them or something. It's like, okay, that's weird. You think that would be my choice you think that would be a decision I would make, that I would decide if I don't feel like I'm the right guy for you, if I'm too much for you, if I'm out of your league and stuff like that. But oh well. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like females, they tend to do stuff that don't make much sense, but that's the whole idea, is everything they do is backwards, right? If we like them, we'll tell them we like them. But if they like us, they won't tell us directly that we like them, that they like us. They rather act like they don't like us, and then hope that we do like them, and then approach them anyway. Tell them that they're cute. Tell them that you like them. This and that. Like they want they because that's the thing. They feed us negativity, but want us to feed them positivity, and that's especially for guys, that's strange. It's like, wait, what? So in other words, you want me to be nice to you while you're an asshole to me. Like, make that make sense. It's better if you're nice to me and I'm nice to you and then we get along, right? Like human beings. But that's the nature of females. And it's been like this since I was young up to now. So, yep, over 30 years, it's been like that. And it's still like that. I see that even online, right? I've seen some chicks that will try to be mean to me, right? Will try to, you know, talk down to me, but likes the fact that I'm even talking to them in the first place. And sometimes they'll even try to convince me otherwise, like convince me, that that I should agree with them, or they'll half agree with me. They'll be like, okay, well, that makes sense. You're right about this. You're right about that. But I still think, and the reason why they'd be like, but I still think, and then add something extra for me to disagree with, because of course she knows I'm going to disagree with the next thing she says, is because she wants to keep the conversation going. She don't want to just keep saying, that I'm wrong, because logically I'm like, okay, whatever, you're not listening to me, you don't agree with me, so that's the end of the conversation. Clearly some of these females are smart enough to notice that the best thing they can do is agree with me half of the time and disagree with me the other half. That way I won't be quick to end the conversation. Touche, ladies, touche. Because it does work. It does work on me. You agree with me half of the time, I will, continue a conversation. Because typically I would want to end the conversation. Just end it with like, okay, whatever. I already said what I needed to say. You said something wrong. I corrected it. That's the end of the conversation, and I'm gonna move on. But some ladies, chicks are getting clever, right? Getting smart, right? And realizing that they can't keep, disagreeing with a guy, because eventually he's going to get tired of it and just be like, all right, I don't want to talk anymore. Because I literally had this scenario where I had this chick, and we just ended up going back and forth, and it took like a couple of months. And it was just some random chick on TikTok. I said something to her, which was an advice. I was giving her an advice on something, and then she turned it into like an insult. It's like, I wasn't insulting you. Why are you trying to make this into something that it's not? And she made a video about what I said. It's like, but I didn't say nothing wrong. You're just trying to make out what I said sound bad, but I didn't say anything wrong. But anyway, then we kept going back and forth, right? Which was the funny thing. We kept going back and forth on the conversation, and we, eventually, it ended, because eventually I got the last word, and that was it. And she clearly liked the attention. But what's ironic, because a couple of times when I've had a scenario like that where I was going back and forth with a female, she, especially if she got into her feelings, she would block me. But this chick, as well as a couple other chicks, they actually liked the interaction. They actually liked the attention. So since they like the attention, more likely is because since they like me, they're willing to tolerate my, me disagreeing with them, that they, go back and forth. They like the attention, and they leave it at that because, they like it. If they didn't like me, then yeah, they'll be like, screw you, block. Right? Because all they want is positivity. But if a chick likes you, she wants negativity. And that's why it's a little bit weird, but that's the thing. You have to understand, the female psychology. You'd be surprised at how much, bullshit, right? Disagreements, lies, right? Lies. Females will accept and tolerate if she likes you, right? If she likes you, she legitimately likes you, she'll tolerate a whole bunch of shit. But if she doesn't like you, she is quick to block you, delete you, push you off of a bridge, that kind of stuff. Exaggerated, but you get the idea. It's like she has no problem, kicking you out of her life. But if she likes you, she will accept your imperfections. Let's put it that way. Like being short, right? Being broke, being ugly, and the list goes on, right? So that's the thing. It's like most females will accept your shortcomings, right? Will accept your imperfections, as long as you're able to convince. As long as you're able to be the exception to her, to her belief or her standard, right? Because she's gonna have a standard, and she'll make an exception for you if you can prove that you are worth her time, right? Worth the experience, right? Like I've seen some chicks like on Fresh or Fit or something talking about like, oh yeah, I've dated some short guys. It's like, yeah, you dated some short guys, but when we asked you what's your type, you said 6'4". 6'4" is not short. So the fact that you dated some short guys means nothing. More likely, you just wanted to use them for free food, or you were just bored, and you wanted some dick, so you didn't care about the height, because height has nothing to do with dick size, right? Obviously, right? So, things like that. That's what I say, like the exception. Sometimes you just want to be the exception, right? You want to be the ugly guy that she fucks, right? The ugly guy that she gives a shot to, right? That's the thing. You want to pay attention to how a woman talks, how she behaves, right? Females, that's the thing about the psychology. It's like how they behave. Their actions speak louder than the words, right? So, listen to what they say, but pay attention to how they act, because how they act is who they really are. So if she says she don't like, short guys, but she's giving you, the vibe, right? She's physically acting like, she likes that you're short, that you are short. And it's like, okay, she likes that you're short. Okay, you're short and muscular, and she seems to, like that combination. So even though she says she don't date short guys, she seems to be okay with a short, muscular guy. Maybe she just doesn't. She won't give a short, fat guy a shot, but she'll definitely give a short, muscular guy a shot, right? So, that's why it's important to understand, the exception rule or the exception concept. You want to be the exception. I said this in my other videos, where it's like you need to be the exception. An ugly guy can get a hot chick, but he has to be the exception. He has to be able to convince her that he's worth her breaking her own rules.